Welcome to Retro Racer. I decided to treat myself to a heavy-duty welding table. This gives me a larger, more sturdy working platform and allows me to mount all of my sheet metal working tools securely onto the bench, which means I don't have to work on the ground as much. This bench measures 1.8 meters by 0.9 of a meter, or roughly somewhere around 6 foot by 3 foot. The top is 9mm plate, which is just shy of 3/8 of an inch, and the side reinforcements, the leg mounts and the center reinforcements are all varying between 8mm, which is 5/16, and 10mm, which is basically 3/8 of an inch. So it's a very solid laser cut system. It was delivered in 3 separate packages, which made it reasonably manageable. The top was well packed and in one package by itself, and that was about 110 to 120 kilos. And then all the reinforcements were well packed in another package, which was a similar weight. And then the legs and feet and hardware were delivered in a separate package, and that was quite manageable. That was somewhere around the 20 kilo mark. If you're not familiar with my channel or videos, I'm an Australian that's retired to Thailand, and I've been doing up an old BMW that's got some major structural rust issues. So that's why I purchased this. Plus, eventually after this car, I would like to do a full restoration on another old classic. So whilst this wasn't cheap, because it's not a cheap item, it's not a rough copy or anything like that, it was 1,700 Australian dollars, and I'll put the conversion up on the screen for all the different currencies. Fortunately, I have an engine hoist, and I had that positioned behind the car, and the delivery driver and I just carefully put the top of the table across the legs, and then I had enough room to take it up the left-hand side, passenger side of the car, into the position you can see here, where I'm just lowering it down onto the base of the engine hoist. I then just retracted the lifting arm and stowed it in the down position, just to kind of keep it out of the way and keep it handy in case I need it again. And there's my 93-year-old father-in-law having a look to see what I was up to. He's always interested in where I'm up to with the car or what I'm doing around the car. And then naturally just started bringing all the different sections around to start the setup and tacking in place. The design is pretty clever. You can't put the wrong piece in the wrong place because they're all keyed differently with their locating lugs. So you basically just do a little bit of trial and error. There was no instructions, but really if you have any experience at all, even just as a handyman with fabrication, it's pretty easy to work out how to put it together. So I've got 3 small to medium size F clamps and 2 small G clamps, and once I figured out how to go about it, it's all I really needed. I did put a couple of tacks across the top at either end, or this table is inverted of course, so it's basically the bottom, but we'll call it the top for the sake of the video. But I would recommend against doing that because it can cause problems with putting the feet mounting plates in position. So I would always suggest tacking down the bottom, especially at the ends. You can see here on this bottom right corner, I tried a couple of different ways, but then I pretty quickly worked out that using 2 clamps on each corner and an additional clamp to hold it down against the table worked quite well. Now I just have a little gasless MIG called a Re-Aim that you may have seen in my other videos. It's a very cheap unit. It was only about, in Australian money, about $60, and US probably works out to about 40 or thereabouts delivered. It's an inverter gasless MIG. It goes up to an indicated 250 amps, and I use it anywhere between 70 and 140 amps for welding the various gasless MIG wires. But with the stick welding, I had to turn it up to 200 amps indicated, with the voltage up at the corresponding level, to run the 2.5mm electrodes, or 2.6 for tacking. And then when I did all the stitch welding later with 3.2mm or 1/8 inch electrodes, I ran the machine flat out at 250 amps indicated, which it certainly wasn't, and I had to let the machine cool down quite often. For about 13 or 14 years now, I've been using a 3M AdFlow setup. I've always tried to be as comfortable as I could in my previous employment, where I worked in engineering. I used to do specialist welding on lifting equipment, as well as a little bit of general fabrication, but most of the time, apart from that, I was working on automation stuff in the food and recycling industry. So I'm just getting into the stitch welding now. I'll just leave you to watch this and put a little bit of music in place for you. I'll come back to narrate a little bit later in the video. So here's the finished product. I'm very happy with it. If you have a look online at either AliExpress or Alibaba or any of those sort of platforms in your country, I'm sure you'll find something very similar to this. I got this one off Lazada in Thailand here, and I'll insert the name of the online shop that I purchased it from. Thanks for watching.